We got some bombshell reports on Kevin O'Connell and Kwesi Adofo-Mensah we're going to be diving into on today's edition of Vikings Now by Chat Sports. My name is Patrick Siepman, and welcome in. This is an awesome show. There's a lot to unpack here of really who was making the decisions in this Vikings organization over the last couple of years. And also in the second half, I do want to talk about the whole paternity leave situation going on with Kwesi. I have some feelings on that. So make sure you guys stay tuned throughout this entire show. But let's start off here with Alec Lewis, and I will give some credit to Alec Lewis. He has done a fantastic job this entire offseason. He doesn't shy away from the truth, and he just tells it like it is. So shout out to Alec here. As he said, the entire 2024 draft process that led to the Vikings picking J.J. McCarthy was orchestrated, designed, executed with Kevin O'Connell as the primary lead. In the context of the quarterback decision that were made last spring, not re-signing Darnold, Jones, potentially bringing in Flacco, Rodgers, Tannehill, to absolve Kevin O'Connell from any and all influence in how that all played out would not be accurate to the nature of how that specifically played out. It would be naive to say Kevin O'Connell has had no say on the Vikings quarterback position. So shout out to Alec Lewis for reporting that, because the recent reports we were getting out of Minnesota were pretty much suggesting that Kwesi Adofo-Mensah just went rogue. Like he said, no, we are not bringing back Sam Darnold. J.J. McCarthy's your guy. You got to make it work. That's how they're trying to paint the picture here in Minnesota. And that's why I've been saying for the last couple of months, it would be naive to say that KOC was not hand-picking J.J. McCarthy in the 2024 draft. That KOC was not telling this front office, I can make it work next season. Get a more complete roster, because this guy has one of the biggest egos in the National Football League. So to say that Kwesi just went rogue and he was making all the decisions at quarterback were just absolutely ludicrous. And also Kevin O'Connell, he loved Drake May and J.J. McCarthy. Like, we were getting all these reports before the 2024 draft that it's like, okay, if the Vikings can't trade up for Drake May, you know what, J.J. McCarthy is their guy. They are more than comfortable sticking at pick 11 or moving up, a couple slots to draft a kid out of Michigan. Now, obviously, reports are coming out that they try to make a full court effort to go land Drake May, and it turns out that their evaluation of May was correct, but also their evaluation, as it stands right now, of J.J. McCarthy doesn't seem to be working out. So we'll dive into all of this and more. There's a lot more to unpack here, especially this quote from Diana Rossini here in just a second. But if you guys could, hit that subscribe button today. I'm sure this is going to be a crazy Vikings offseason. I mean, for the first time ever, the Vikings feel dysfunctional, so there's a lot to unpack here. So make sure you guys join the Vikings Now family here on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button today. Just need 300 more of you guys to hit 70,000 subs. I think we could do it off today's show. I promise you there are 300 people watching today's show that aren't subscribed to the channel. So we post multiple videos per day around your Vikes, short-form content. So we do it all here on YouTube. So hit that subscribe button today and help us reach 70K. All right, so Alec Lewis put out that report. And then Diana Rossini, literally a couple hours later, was on her podcast, and she said this: I know Kevin does not have the final say on roster. He does not. That is not in his contract. No shit, Diana. He is the head coach, not the GM. And ownership decided that they want to stick with Kevin O'Connell and give him a different general manager moving forward, or general manager moving card. Now, listen, I think Kevin O'Connell's PR team is absolutely incredible. I've been on this for, probably the last 12 months, where it's just like, there is no negative reporting about KOC. Like, there has never been anything negative said about the Vikings head coach. Since day one he's been here in Minnesota. Maybe this is all happenstance, and maybe Kevin O'Connell just gets a benefit of the doubt from the media, but nobody ever presses him during press conferences. Nobody ever questions. And it's like, hey, well, were you wrong about J.J. McCarthy? And now that Kwesi got fired, it's like, oh, they're trying to make him the scapegoat, and then nobody's really pressing him. Like, nobody's holding him accountable, even though he's the head coach. And everybody likes to, coin this guy like, oh, he's the quarterback whisperer. He's this offensive mastermind. Is he? I mean, look at his stats over the last 4 seasons in Minnesota. In 2022, you won 13 games that season. Okay, well, you're still 18th in EPA per play. DVOA was 20th. Points per game, 24.9. About middle of the pack. 2023, don't want to hold him accountable for that. Kirk Cousins tore his Achilles, but still wasn't great. 2024, Vikings win 14 games. They have a top 5 defense. Darnold looks amazing, but still the overall offense, because they had no running game, was middle of the pack. 14th in EPA per play, 15th in DVOA. And then this past season, it was an absolute disaster. I understand the quarterback play was bad, but that's also on the head coach. And who says this guy's an offensive genius? Like, we have nothing to go off of where it's saying, like, hey, Kevin O'Connell is a great offensive play caller. He has a great scheme. He gets too pass happy. His short yardage play calling's a joke. He has never had a run game. It has been 4 seasons. It is not like this has been only last year where the Vikings didn't have a run game. They're bad in short yardage. KOC had a bad year. This has been his track record as a play caller in the National Football League. And it's also, people love to give him credit for Sam Darnold. Even saying like, oh, Daniel Jones was in Minnesota. He learned from Kevin O'Connell. Daniel Jones was flat out fantastic with Shane Steichen this season. Sam Darnold was flat out amazing with Clint Kubiak. So you're seeing these other offensive coaches have success with other quarterbacks that the Vikings have had in the building. Even take Kirk Cousins, for example. He's looked good in Atlanta. He obviously tore his Achilles, but when he bounced back, he looked pretty damn good. So it's like, okay, we wanted to give him the credit for Sam Darnold, but now Darnold looks great somewhere else. He also played amazing in the biggest game of his career, where when he was in Minnesota last year, Kevin O'Connell just hung him out there to dry. Kevin O'Connell was flat out horrible this season. I don't want, the Vikings firing Kwesi Adofo-Mensah to have everybody just forget that this head coach was bad. He had a bad year. He left his quarterbacks out to dry. He had a young rookie first-year starting quarterback in J.J. McCarthy, and he just never helped him. I mean, he never gave him a run game. He never gave him any easy looks, no quick slants, no just easy offensive just gimmies that you could have for the quarterback. He never did that. And don't forget about the Brosmer reports. I think looking back on this, especially with all what we know now, this is absolutely hilarious. Where everybody in the Vikings organization was leaking to like Jay Glazer. They're leaking to these big-time NFL media members before he was making his start, where it's like, oh, the Vikings didn't want Brosmer to go to the Combine because they didn't want other teams getting a look at him. He was the Vikings' hidden gem. Then he goes out there and he has one of the worst quarterback performances we have seen. So looking back on it now, pretty funny, as we're at this point where Kwesi gets fired. But I still think KOC this past season, Brosmer was left out to dry. JJ was left out to dry. He had never once just gave them a consistent running game. And the narrative that was being pushed this entire season was Kevin O'Connell's offense is too complex for a young quarterback to understand. Like, oh, that's it. Like KOC, he's such a smart offensive mind. How could you expect a young quarterback to understand it? Oh, we also can't go out there and get Kyler Murray. He won't understand Kevin O'Connell's offense. It's ludicrous. It's just a narrative being pushed in the media. It's not like KOC is doing stuff that the league has never seen before. Help your quarterbacks out. He gets a lot of blame. And I'll ask you guys, who is more to blame? I think this is 50-50. I think Kwesi gets a lot of blame for the drafts and some of the free agency signings. But at the quarterback position, the most important position in all of sports, this guy gets blame, everybody. Even going with J.J. McCarthy, it's not like he helped him out. He was giving him backhanded comments in the media this entire season. He gets a lot of blame, too. And again, you ask other people on that NFL, what do you think of Kevin O'Connell? Probably, oh, this guy's an offensive genius. There's nothing to go off of that would suggest that. So you guys let me know down below who is more to blame, KOC or Kwesi Adofo-Mensah. Now we'll talk about the Kwesi report on the paternity leave here in just a second. But if you guys could head to factormeals.com/VikingsChat50 off and use code VikingsChat50 off. We'll hook you guys up with 50% off your first Factor box plus free breakfast for 1 year. Now, I absolutely love Factor meals. And if you guys want to eat better but you have zero time and zero energy to make it happen, Factor doesn't ask you to meal prep or follow recipes. It just removes the entire problem. 2 minutes, real food, done. And you're not failing at eating healthy. You're failing at having 3 extra hours every night. Factor is already made by chefs, designed by dietitians, and delivered to your door. You heat it for 2 minutes, and all you got to do is eat. Lean proteins, colorful vegetables, whole food ingredients, healthy fats, the stuff you'd make if you had the time. And I love Factor because it's no refined sugars, no artificial sweeteners, and no refined seed oils. You got a bunch of different choices out there, so just head on over to factormeals.com/VikingsChat50 off. Use promo code VikingsChat50 off to get 50% off your first Factor box, plus free breakfast for 1 year. This offer is only valid for new Factor customers with code and qualifying auto-renewing subscription purchase. Make healthier eating easy with Factor. All right, I want to close today's show out talking about, I think it's just an absolute joke why this is getting reported. After Kwesi was fired, everybody started chiming in on his decision to take paternity leave. And if you guys don't know, this was back in 2023 during training camp. Because he had his first kid, apparently he took 2 weeks off where he was working remote. And apparently people have a lot of thoughts on this, and I do too. But Diane Rossini chimed in on it yesterday and saying this has been talked about for 2 years around the league. Apparently it's a huge deal. Don't really believe that. People are gossipy. They have been whispering about it. They've been making fun of it. The Vikings were supportive in that Kwesi's paternity leave. I don't want to say that the Minnesota Vikings were excited about it, but they understood it. Now, on Kwesi's decision to take paternity leave, I have mixed feelings about it. Because obviously, he's trying to be a good dad. He's trying to be a good family man. So, I get that side of it. But, my first thought is, why the hell is this even being reported? How does this leave the building of Minnesota? It's coming out now in 2023, or when it happened in 2023, and then he gets fired, and it's oh, they're just trying to make him even more the scapegoat. Because if the Vikings were winning, and obviously if he never gets fired, this never comes out. So, who is putting this out there to the media? Stuff gets out for a reason. Stuff doesn't just get out there. Somebody talks to somebody, and especially something like this, how do other teams know about this? I just don't understand it. So if the Vikings win it, I don't think this ever gets reported. And I will say this is a bad look for Kwesi, though, because there are only 32 GM jobs in the NFL. And people have talked about it at length where it's hey, sometimes you got to miss your kid's birthday. Sometimes you got to miss this. Sometimes you got to miss that. There are 32 GM jobs in the league. And especially in August when it is roster cutdown time and you're going to take paternity leave to take 2 weeks off, obviously not a good decision. Also, Ryan Clark, he chimed in on it. Playing in the NFL, he understands it. It's the norm to miss birthdays, holidays, and even funerals. That doesn't make it right. Kwesi chose his family, and good for him. He wouldn't have his job either way. And I agree with Ryan. This paternity leave Kwesi took made no difference on him getting fired or not. That's why it is so frustrating and why this is getting reported, because they're trying to make him look bad. They're trying to be oh, Kwesi didn't want it enough. He would rather go be a dad and take paternity leave for 2 weeks. I just think it's kind of taking low blows at the guy. And again, I don't know if Kevin O'Connell is behind this, but I just have this strong feeling where KOC is trying to separate himself from Kwesi, where it's just he deserves a lot of blame for this too. I understand Kevin O'Connell. He's a very smart head coach. He's a really good head coach. But to ever put him in the category of being great, especially after what we saw this past season, where I was the biggest Kevin O'Connell guy heading into the season. You get more information, start to learn more about the situation, you can have a new take about it. And I just think it's it's bullshit that this is coming out about Kwesi right now. But I don't know. Vikings feel dysfunctional to me. You guys let me know your thoughts down below. Give me Y for yes. Give me an N for no. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments section. They feel dysfunctional. I guess we're just at that point in the Vikings offseason. But if you guys want more Vikings videos, hit that subscribe button today. We'll get on out of here. And as always, let's go Vikes.